In the sultry shadows of New Orleans, 1861, Dinah, an enslaved woman, stood silent as wedding bells rang for her master's daughter. Her heart pounded with a secret too dangerous to whisper, a vow of vengeance born from years of cruelty. That night, as the plantation glowed with celebration, a single act would stain the white lace red. What drove Dinah to risk everything for revenge? The answer will haunt you. Dinah, a 28-year-old enslaved woman, moved like a ghost to the grand Delacroix plantation. Her days began before dawn, scrubbing floors, mending dresses, and enduring the sharp tongue of Madame Delacroix. Born into slavery, Dinah's spirit flickered with quiet defiance, nurtured by stolen moments reading forbidden books in attic. Her nimble fingers and sharp mind made her indispensable, yet invisible, to the family. She braided young Miss Clara's hair for her wedding, her touch gentle but her eyes distant. The plantation buzzed with preparations for Clara's marriage to a wealthy Creole merchant. Dinah observed the opulence, silk dresses, crystal chandeliers. Knowing her labor made it possible, she slept in a cramped shed, her back scarred from whippings for minor infractions. Yet she clung to memories of her mother's songs, whispers of freedom in their melodies. Madame Delacroix's cruelty was relentless. She mocked Dinah's intelligence, calling her uppity for daring to glance at a book. Clara, though kinder, saw Dinah as a shadow, not a woman with dreams. The wedding loomed as a symbol of the family's wealth, built on Dinah's suffering. As she polished silver under flickering candlelight, a spark of rage grew. Something shifted in her gaze, a plan forming, dangerous and irreversible. What could push a woman so far? The answer lay in the shadows, waiting to strike. The wedding day dawned, heavy with humidity and anticipation. Dinah moved through the chaos, her face a mask of obedience. She carried trays of sugared figs and poured wine, her hands steady despite the storm in her chest. The Delacroix family laughed, oblivious to her presence, their privilege a wall she could never breach. But Dinah's mind churned. Years of abuse, whippings for spilled tea, insults for her curiosity, had carved a deep wound. The final straw came weeks earlier when Madame Delacroix, enraged by Dinah's accidental glance at Clara's fiancé, lashed her until she bled. "Know your place," Madame hissed. Dinah's place was pain, but her soul refused to break. As guests arrived, Dinah overheard whispers of the slave trade's brutality, of families torn apart. Her own mother had been sold when Dinah was 10, her screams echoing as she was dragged away. The memory fueled Dinah's resolve. She noticed the kitchen stores, arsenic, kept for rats, tucked behind flour sacks. A deadly idea took root. No one suspected the silent woman who served their meals during the rehearsal dinner. Dinah's eyes caught Clara's veil, a symbol of purity built on her suffering. She slipped into the kitchen, her heart racing. The arsenic vial felt cold in her hand. She hesitated, imagined the consequences, death, torture, or worse. But the weight of her scars, her mother's absence, and the family's casual cruelty pushed her forward. She sprinkled the powder into the wedding soup, her movements precise, her face unreadable. As the night unfolded, tension coiled tighter. Dinah served the soup, her pulse hammering. Guests sipped, unaware, while Clara glowed in her gown. Madame Delacroix raised a toast, her voice dripping with pride. Dinah watched, her breath shallow, waiting for the first sign of chaos. A guest coughed, then another. Whispers turned to murmurs. Had she gone too far? The room spun with laughter and clinking glasses, but Dinah's world narrowed to the ticking seconds. Would her revenge unravel her or set her free? The wedding night reached its peak as the ballroom shimmered with candlelight. Dinah stood in the shadows, her heart a drumbeat of dread and defiance. The soup was gone, bowls cleared, but the arsenic worked silently. Madame Delacroix clutched her throat, her face paling. Guests gasped, their merriment fracturing. Clara, radiant moment ago, swayed, her veil slipping. Panic erupted as bodies crumpled, the plantation's grandeur stained by sudden horror. Dinah's hands trembled, her plan no longer a secret. She hadn't meant to harm Clara, only Madame, but the poison spared no one. Eyes turned to her, the invisible servant now seen. A guest shouted, "The slave girl!" Rough hands seized her, but Dinah's gaze burned with unyielding resolve. She had struck back, her pain given form. Madam's final glare met Dinah's eyes, a silent accusation. Dinah felt no triumph, only a hollow weight. Her revenge was complete, but at what cost? As men dragged her toward the overseer's whip, her mind flashed to her mother's songs. Freedom's promise, now a fading echo. The ballroom, once alive with celebration, was a graveyard of her making. Would her act be her end, or the spark of something greater? Dinah's fate was sealed by dawn. The plantation buzzed with rage, not grief. She was bound, her body bruised, and sentenced to hang. Yet, as the rope tightened, Dinah's eyes held no regret. Her act, born of unbearable injustice, whispered to the enslaved quarters. Whispers became stories. Stories became legend, a spark of defiance against a system that crushed souls. She died, but her name lived, a quiet rebellion etched in memory. The Delacroix family never recovered. Clara survived, but the wedding's tragedy tainted their legacy. The plantation, built on stolen lives, crumbled into decay. Dinah's story, though buried by those in power, spread among the enslaved, a testament to resistance. Her vengeance was not justice, but cry against a world that saw her as less than human. This tale, inspired by the countless unnamed who suffered under slavery's brutality, reflects a truth still resonant. Racial injustice, then and now, thrives on silence and complicity. Dinah's act, desperate and tragic, forces us to confront the cost of oppression. How many more must pay such a price before the world listens? Her story demands we question. What does it take to break chains? And what are we willing to sacrifice for change?